employees. We held fundraisers, and we did dress down days. We got donations for this whole street fest. The only thing that our agency paid for were some giveaway items. So it didn't cost the taxpayers to put on this annual event because the staff funds it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Next year, when you're looking for giveaways, call me.
Oh, okay.
You know, I have that other business.
Yes, that's
that
right.
I'm not supposed to promote on this show. But since Marianne's not here, you know, I'm an auctioneer and I get all this cool stuff in my warehouse.
Oh my God, yeah.
Just let me know what you need.
Okay, great. Yeah, we do take donations.
I figured you would.
Yeah, so it's really neat, and it's a fun way to kick off Child Support Awareness Month. One of the other things that we're going to be doing, and that starts on August 16th, is we're bringing back the driver's license amnesty program. We didn't think we'd ever do it again, but that's where you can come in, you pay your 1 month obligation plus $50. So if your child support order is $100 a month, you come in and you pay that $100 plus an additional $50, and we put that towards your back child support, and then you'll get your license back.
Okay, since you brought up something, if somebody is in jail, can they get in that program if their child support will then be continued?
If they could get somebody to come in and pay to their case, that's an interesting thing. I would say yes, but I'd have to run that by the experts at the agency.
If you would check.
Yeah, I will check.
Because I'll be the one, I'll come in and I'll pay his stuff.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Because I know if I reminded you of the case, you would know it.
Okay, but I'm not in work. I'm off. I'm taking some furlough days, so
it's okay. Whatever.
Thursday, Friday. So, but email me.
Okay.
And I'll take care of that.
I will do that, but that will be fantastic.
Another thing that we're doing, and it's employees paying for the program, is we're recognizing the efforts that we put forth every year. We have raffles now with prizes, and everything again came through the staff. Chinese raffle, people are donating gifts for the Chinese raffle, and then we have these drawings every day where you can win a $10 gift card to someplace for something, you know, like a Subway gift card, something like that. So we do things to honor the staff too, because sometimes it's a very difficult job, you know.
Where, at child support?
Yeah, you know.
Come on, nobody ever calls and is upset and screaming, hollering.
Exactly, and the hard part is that you have dad who usually pays. He's upset because he thinks he pays too much. And then you have mom who's upset because she thinks he doesn't pay enough. And they're both calling, and you're trying to deal with that. And it may be the issue that he was late in picking up the children for visitation, and mom has just had it, and dad has just had it. And so now it's Monday morning, and they're going to call you screaming. Sometimes it's a very stressful job. So this is a good way during the month. We honor our clients, we honor our children, and then we honor our staff.
That's fantastic. Do they still do the roundups of the highest?
They stopped that a couple years ago. We used to do the roundups, and what they were a great publicity tool, a great public awareness tool. We in Cuyahoga County consistently pick people up on warrants, so this was nothing new. For the smaller counties that didn't have the funding, they'd get together once a year with their sheriff's department, say, okay, here are all the warrants, and then they would go out, and that's why you'd see some like little teeny weeny county, you know, with 120 child support cases having, 70 arrests, and then you'd see Cuyahoga County, 23 people were apprehended. Well, that's because we do it all along. We were being a team player. But that was a great tool for people who did not want to be picked up. That was a great tool. Another one is the wanted poster, and we haven't done that for a number of years. However, the prosecutor's office does their own wanted poster, and they do it on people who have warrants for their arrest already issued for them. We still get a lot of calls, though, for people who'd like to see us reinstitute the wanted poster.
Speaking of calls, if you'd like to get in on Blog Talk, our number here is 1-646-478-4905. That's 1-646-478-4905. Any questions you have about child support, I can guarantee you Mary Denahan can answer.
The answer may be I don't know, but I can answer.
She will get you an answer, trust me. I've been doing this since 95. I think we met in 96 when I went on the radio.
Yeah.
And whenever I have a problem, you've always come through for me. So I want to thank you personally.
Well, thank you.
And if you would like to see what's going on in the studio, you can watch us at, well, you've got to, if you're listening and you can hear us, you already know where we're at, but we're at kazradio.org. You're shaking your head no, Pastor James. Pastor James, by the way, is our producer. He's going to interfere now. He grabbed a microphone. He's going to start talking.
Just to let you know, the folks on Blog Talk Radio can only hear you. They can't see you.
Oh, okay.
So you're broadcasting on Blog Talk, Ustream, and KAZ Radio.
I just learned something. So if you'd like to see us, you can see us at www.kazradio.org. Now I have another question for you.
Okay.
Okay. You want a hypothetical or you want a real?
Surprise me.
Okay. Mother wants the father to sign off. Father's never been involved. His rights to the children. Children don't know the father. She wants him to go away. If he does that eliminate the child support obligation for the father?
This all depends. If there's involvement with public assistance and there was an order for child support existing, mom can say, I want to, and dad can say, I want to terminate my parental rights. I want nothing to do with the children. They file it in court, and okay, fine. And maybe even mom says, he owes me $10,000 in back child support. I don't want it. Just let it go away, zero out his arrears. But if there's money due to the Department of Human Services, it doesn't matter. He still has to pay that back. That's a debt he can't wipe out. But if it's just between him and mom, and he only owes mom money, yeah, they can go ahead and he can terminate his rights. And I believe that if mom wanted to come back later and file for child support, I think it would be difficult. I think ultimately she may be able to get the support even though the parental rights were terminated. It depends on if you have a good attorney and a sympathetic judge, I believe.
Okay. If mom offers to pay the debt back to public assistance to get rid of him, do you think that would fly? And of course, this is just an opinion. This is not a legal answer. I know that.
I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know, because wherever the money comes from, the money comes from. If it's being applied towards that case, if somebody is sending in a check and saying it's for this case, and it's an arrears only case, we're going to take the money and.
Okay, just a curiosity, this just popped into my head. This has got nothing to do with what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. But let's say a parent is getting public assistance. Mm-hmm. They get $100 a month, just to pick a round number. How much is the other parent responsible for? The whole 100? Or is it half?
That's a great question. I think it's the whole amount.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not positive. I know that years ago, they used to, judges would just come up with a figure and say, okay, $1,000 a year or something like that. And if the kid was 11, then you owed $11,000 in back child support to public assistance. I think now, because of our computer systems, there's an accuracy that wasn't there before, that they could say, while mom was on welfare, she received $3,924 over this period of time. and a judge may say that's how much is due.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the story you were telling me?
Oh, yeah. Got a call today from a custodial parent, a mom, and when the child was born, and the child's around 10 right now, when the child was born, the father to her other children signed the birth certificate, signed the paternity acknowledgement affidavit, even though they both weren't quite sure whether or not he was the biological father. Recently, the possible biological dad went and contacted mom and said, I want to be involved if I'm the father. So the client said, what should I do? So I advised to go to the coroner's office. We at Child Support, there's, in our mind, one dad per child. So we've already got our dad.
You did just say the coroner's office, right?
I sure did.
Okay, I'm just going to bite my tongue.
Yeah, go to the coroner's office. And they do paternity DNA testing. They do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
is it cheaper than all the other places?
I don't know.
I'll have to call.
But they do paternity DNA testing. The reason why I would recommend them is because they follow the chain of evidence. So it's not like when you go to like 1-800 Who's My Daddy or something like that. It's because I could pluck a hair from you and pluck a hair from me and mail it in, and nobody would really know, and I could say that you were my son. There's no chain of evidence there. So if you go to the coroner's office, they follow the chain of evidence. It's admissible in court. So if he turns out to be the father, the biological father, they can go to court and say, we had the test through the coroner's office, here's the evidence, and they can get that admitted into evidence, and then a judge can make a decision as to whether or not to accept it and to vacate the original paternity establishment and reestablish paternity with this biological father. Now, I'm not saying that the judge would do that 100% of the time, because they're going to look at what's in the best interests of the child. And not in this particular case, but let's just say that the guy who signed the birth certificate was involved in the child's life, did pay his child support. Would a judge say, okay, well, I see you all changed your mind, and honey, now you got a new daddy, and here he is. I hope you like him. Glad you're meeting him. It doesn't work that way. People gotta think these things through before, they decide, oh, well, what the heck, you might be.
Correct. Because this has happened more than once.
Oh, of course it has, yeah.
We had one gentleman, I remember when David Greer was running Fathers and Mothers for Equal Rights, he had said for 10 years that the child wasn't his, and they knew who the father was, but the court would not let him out because for 5 years prior to that, he was the father. Mm-hmm. The child lived with him till he was 18. From what I understand, he even put him through college, but he was looking to be reimbursed for all the costs that he encountered, and I don't know what happened to the mother. She just took off. But he was trying to get, the child support from the father. I don't know whatever happened, but that was...
I have a friend who, when his daughter turned 16, the mother said, you're not the father. And my friend had been paying child support the whole entire time. And he said, I suspected. He said, but this is my daughter. And he continued to pay child support and continued, that's the father. Now, you have a biological right, though, too, to know who your father is. You need family medical history. Mm-hmm. I never pursued the conversation to find out, did you tell your daughter, though, that she has a biological father and that you are her bringing up dad. I mean, children have a right to know because they need that biological history, that
Correct.
family medical history. And who are you? Yes, you're the mother, but can you really deny your child access to their biological father?
Unfortunately, it happens all the time, both ways.
Right,
Ways.
exactly. But, that's a question to put out there. And I know people think that they have good reasons, like he's got a new girlfriend and the girlfriend, I don't like the girlfriend, or she doesn't like me. No, that's really not a good reason.
It's not?
No, not quite. So it's difficult because I do see grown children who found out later on that the person they thought was their father really wasn't their father. Or
I have two friends that just found out they're 33 and the other one's 38.
oh wow.
Both of them just found out within the last year.
How did they react to that?
Well, the one said that now she understands why her brother is so messed up. Because she couldn't understand how he could be related.
Oh.
No, and she meant
Yeah.
it seriously.
Uh-huh.
She said it cleared up all kinds of things for her, so she was really happy to find that out.
Mm-hmm.
But and the other one was devastated because they were they were best friends.
Oh.
And I said, and I've always said to him, I said, does it make a difference? This was the person that was there for you. He's still there for you. But he lied to me. I said, he didn't lie to you. He just didn't tell you the truth.
Yeah, that's still a fib. Okay,
Yeah.
you can't parse with the truth. The truth is the truth.
But where was the other guy?
I don't know.
I mean, I agree with what you're
Yeah.
saying. I mean, I wouldn't ever argue, but
Right. Well, and that's the whole thing is it's a lot easier for me to sit here and have the conversation with you than it is to say, well, honey, I was drunk one night. Met this guy in a bar that I knew. I was mad at your dad. And, that's a difficult conversation to have with your kid.
no, that's it.
Yeah.
I agree. It's true.
Yeah.
But if you're the other parent, whether you're the surrogate mother or father in that case, you raised the child as it was your own.
Right.
It would be like somebody coming to my door telling me, oh, by the way, you're not the father of your children. I said, you want to bet?
Mm-hmm. Now, conversely, though, I've also seen it where a guy has found out he was not the biological father, totally devastated, and walked out of the lives of the children.
I could never imagine myself doing that.
Yeah, but I've seen it. I've
No,
seen
I
it
know.
happen. So, it's
I can only speak for me. And if you would like to speak on the show or ask a child support question, please call 646-478-4905. Or you can log on to Blog Talk and blog into the studio, and Pastor James will be glad to respond because he won't let us touch his new laptop.
it's very sharp looking too. All
But,
silver, shiny.
Don't hesitate to ask. And if they need to ask a question and they don't want to ask it on the air, where do they call to get information in Cuyahoga County?
They can call our main number, which is 216-443-5100, or they can call me directly at 216-443-5287. However, I won't be in work for the next 2 days. I'm taking my furlough days, so they'd have to call me on Monday.
Okay. So if you want to talk to Mary directly, that was her direct number, which I was never allowed to give out. Now she just gave it out on the internet. So you're more important than I've ever been. But don't get discouraged if you get a recording. They do call back.
Right.
I've never not had a return phone call. And I know Mary always calls back, so if you leave a message, somebody will get back to you quickly.
I'll tell you, I've been lately, we're transitioning to a new form of government. And I've been...
Is it going to be better or worse? Oh, I'm sorry, we won't go there.
So I've been doing that as well. So it may take a little bit longer to return the call, but yes, I will return the call.
You've never let me down.
Oh, thank you.
Never.
That's so nice.
Well, it's the truth. What other information would you like to get out there today?
I would the information that I would like to get out is to people who pay child support. And that is, we're in a terribly rough economy. If you've lost your job, call the agency and let the agency know. We're backlogged because of course, we've had to cut back staff, but at least we can get you on track to try to review your case to see if you can get a modification. You know, we're seeing too many people where they were earning $80,000 a year, now we're earning $30,000 a year. Call us, let us get in there. The other thing is if you pay support, we track that money. We track it. So when you're paying, we can tell you exactly how much you've paid, when you paid it, where it, you know, if it went to mom, if it went to fees, if it went to human services, all that type of thing. We can't tell you, though, where mom spent the money.
Why not?
But we don't know that.
Because I know she bought her boyfriend that new car with it.
I know. How could she?
She never bought me one.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's the other thing. Child support covers the roof over their head, you know, the heat, the air conditioning, the water. It's usually never enough to really raise a child. You know, when you think a minimum order of being $50 a month, really, when you have a newborn, how many Pampers is that going to cover? You know,
A week and a half, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait. Well, I'm not even going to talk to you. You got more kids than I do.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I just became a new grandmother twice this year.
Congratulations.
Yes, so I know a thing or two about those diapers.
Diapers,
Yeah.
food.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have 2 teenage boys.
Oh, good luck.
Uh-huh.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, the people at the grocery store know me by first name. It's rough, but I'm not going to complain because I've got 2 great kids, so I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about child support and letting child support know. The biggest mistake most people make is that they don't communicate with child support because I don't have any money to pay them.
Correct.
If you do not contact child support, you will be paid a visit by somebody with a badge sooner or later.
Correct.
You will go to jail. You will be arrested, whether you're at your current job making minimum wage or at your office making $150,000 a year. You're going to see somebody with a badge. It's going to happen. It's not if. You're going to lose your driver's license. If you have a professional license, you're going to lose that.
Mm-hmm.
They will take it. It's their job. That's what they do. It may take them a little bit longer to get to you. It's going to happen. Communicate with the agency. They're not bad people. They're doing their job.
Right. And, you know, and it's funny because some people will say that, oh, they treat me like I'm a deadbeat. No, we don't. We don't.
Never.
We collected almost $240 million last year, so plenty of people do pay their child support.
We have a question.
Yes, I have a question. A friend of mine most recently was
You know what they say when they...
A friend.
no, seriously. No, a friend of mine was most recently put in county lockup for 28 days for not paying child support. And I thought it was somewhat excessive, saying how he owned a business and now his business suffered because of him being in the rears or whatever. Why do they put them in jail for a nonviolent crime? Why wouldn't they just put an ankle bracelet on them, allow them to go to work, and make sure that they had the freedom to work and pay the child support, you know, and be on some sort of house arrest?
Right. We have had judges issue the electronic monitoring device. So it depends on the judge, depends on the case, depends on what we call the person who pays child support the obligor. So it depends on those 3 things. If he went to jail, more than likely he was given quite a few chances to pay because jail is a last resort. So although he may have a very sympathetic story that he's paying you, my guess is that if I looked up the case, I'd be like, whoa, yeah, you know. So that's a last resort, incarceration, because we're not collecting any money. Our goal is to collect money. We even get our federal funds on how much money we collect, not on how many people we put in jail.
Right. Yeah, because that's the point that I guess concerned me when hearing your story. I was like, well, now there's no collection. You know, you spend 28 days in jail, your business suffers, and now it's becoming a vicious cycle because now when you were paying late or whatever. Now you don't have the money to pay, and you're going to be back in there again because.
Hey, listen, if he was paying, he wouldn't.
Suffering.
If he was paying, he wouldn't be in jail.
Well, okay. Well,
yeah, I'm going to tell you. I guarantee you that.
Okay, I don't know much about it, but I felt bad for the guy. You know.
Well,
you only have half of the story.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. If I looked up on my records, I guarantee you he wasn't paying. Or if he paid $50 a couple of months ago that seemed like yesterday to him. No, we want the money coming in. That's the goal. So whatever he did in front of that judge, absolutely the judge looked at the record first and made a decision. People who go to jail or go to prison because they have the ability to pay and refuse to pay.
I find that interesting. And then here's the twist: he gets sick while he's in jail.
Oh,
they send him to the hospital.
mm-hmm.
Now the county has a hospital bill,
right,
that they have to pay above and beyond what he would have paid if he was out.
Well, again, let's go back to my bet would be he wasn't paying his support. Okay. Again, we don't put people in jail because they're paying. Makes no sense. And we have done the electronic monitoring device. So.
Well, buddy, if you're listening, you heard it straight from the court system.
No, not the court. From child support.
From child support.
Yeah. And I'll go one further. I'll bet $500 she's right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure she's right.
One of the things when we used to do the hotline, we'd get calls. Well, they took my driver's license. They won't give it back unless I come up with this absurd amount. And the first thing I would say was, you made payment arrangements. You didn't keep them, correct? Well, yeah. Well, that's what happens. So now you have to go down with your 10%, and you have to get back on track, and this is how you get your license back. But that's not fair. Why is it not fair? You were the one that said you would pay X number of dollars a month on this order, on the arrear. You didn't pay. Child support is not out to get you. They are there to take a court document that says you're supposed to pay X and collect it.
Right.
They're not the Gestapo. They're not out there making this stuff up. They just do what the court orders say.
Well, now I have one more story.
Okay.
This is not a friend, but this is a friend of a friend. Okay.
Okay, here we go again.
All right. Okay.
He claims.
Would you just get your wife on the phone so we get the true story?
He claims that he was also thrown into the county lockup. However, he was living with his wife. I mean, they were back together. They would go to court. She would try to tell him, hey, look, we're together now. Let's release him of this obligation. And they threw him in the jail anyway.
Can I take the shot at this?
Go ahead.
They never filed the paperwork.
Gotcha.
There is a responsibility that people have. And it may be that there was money due to the Department of Human Services. They can go to court and they can get what's called an agreed judgment entry that says, we're together. I not only want the current child support to stop, I want all the back child support to end. That's fine. But the money that would go to Human Services would still be owed.
If there was food stamps, medical, any of that, if she was on assistance while he was gone?
Not food stamps.
I thought that was...
No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I take that back. Mm-hmm. But any of the medical or anything that you would get through Human Services...
Well, it looks like we got a caller. Why don't we let this caller in and see what they want to say? Caller, go right. 1 moment. Caller, go right ahead.
Hello.
The program with Marianne.
Yes, you go right ahead. You're with the program with Marianne and Neil Grossman, CRC of Cleveland.
Well, she seemed to start talking about a case with a father that was trying to get custody of his kids after 2 years of absence or something. and then they seem to go off into something else.
No, that was 10 years of absence, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, there was 10 years of absence, and the real father showed up when there was somebody who signed a birth certificate.
And this was, well, are they going to get back? I mean, what happened in that case?
It's still pending. They're going. The whole point was that you need to get the paternity test done, and Mary suggested that they go over to the coroner, which was the point of the case. That you can get the DNA test done there, and how it's done and how it's investigated, so it's done properly.
Oh, okay. So I came in the middle of that.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you this question: Are there any? Does anyone have any statistics on fathers winning custody and domestic relations as opposed to juvenile court? Does anyone keep statistics on that?
Child support
the father
doesn't.
Case. Excuse me.
Okay. Child support really doesn't have anything to do with custody. It's the horse is already out of the barn. The statistic that I can give you is that about 90% of our cases, between 85 and 90%, it fluctuates a little, 85 to 90% of our cases, mom is the custodial parent. 5 to 10% of the custodial parents are relatives or the county. Mm-hmm. And 5%, and this is usually pretty consistent, 5% of the cases, dad is the custodial parent. So we have 146,000 cases right now. So 146,000 out of those 146,000, 5% are where dad has custody of the kids.
Right.
Okay, but you're saying this is in the child support arena.
Correct. In nationwide, it's between 5 and 9% that fathers have custody.
Okay, but the question, I guess that statistic is really skewed, though, because the question really is how many of the cases the fathers actually contest. You know what I mean? How much? You know what I mean? Because for the most part, the fathers, particularly in juvenile court, I understand there are a lot of cases where the parents aren't married. And then in other cases, men seem to think that they're going to lose the case, so why waste their money on a lawyer? I'd be interested in knowing where the actual, where we're comparing apples to apples, right? Guys that actually because I read something in Massachusetts, there it's actually almost 60% of the fathers that contest the cases win.
That is not true.
You're saying?
I'm telling you that if 60% of the fathers that contested the cases, if they won, there would be a line around the block at juvenile and domestic relations courts of fathers in there fighting for it. That is not the case, that wherever you read that, their information is wrong.
So fathers shouldn't even contest it.
That is so far from the truth, because you're talking to a father that went into court, that was slammed. You could not believe the things that were said about me in the court, and I got 50-50 custody, which is what I wanted, because that's what I thought was best for my kids. I can show anybody how to win custody as long as you're a decent parent. And if we're talking about good, decent people, you have every right to go in and fight for your children. If you're a drug user, you're living on the street, you're abusive. No. I'm just saying this.
I'm saying here's a case where there's a father who actually spends more time with the child than the mother.
Correct.
The mother in the evening and the father works from home, so he's home all day. Takes the child to school, picks him up, takes him to the doctors, does all the sporting things, the piano lessons and everything with the child. And I mean, that's the case that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Decent guy living in a nice neighborhood,
in
school system, and so on.
And if that father doesn't fight the case the way it needs to be fought, and isn't prepared for the chuck holes that he's going to step in, that he's not even aware that the other side's going to put down in front of him, then he's going to lose because he's not prepared. You need a decent divorce attorney, and the biggest problem that I have found over the 15 years that I've done this is that my cousin Jimmy knows a guy who does divorce. No, but I'm being serious, because this is the first question you have to ask an attorney. What is the percentage of your cases that are divorce?
Well, this is a divorce attorney who's 30 years experience, a mediator, GAL, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, then it sounds like you got a good attorney.
Now, let me ask you this. Are you available offline? Because you sound like you know what you're talking about. Are you an attorney?
No, I am not an attorney.
Do you charge a fee for your service?
CRC charges a fee for their services, and it's a nominal fee, and you can reach them at 216.
I'm already a member of that.
Okay, well, if you call there, they will be glad to give you a phone number to get a hold of me. My name is Neil Grossman, but I no longer do this for a living. I retired about a year ago, but I'll be glad to talk to you off the air. Just call CRC, tell Mary Ann that you want my phone number, and I told you on the air to give it to you. And I'll let her know that you'll be calling. But I won't give it out on the air.
No, I'm not asking you to.
Okay.
But you sound pretty positive, and that's
trust me, there is not a case that if you have two good parents, that both those parents shouldn't come away with their children, and if you know how to do it, you can do it.
All right. No, my mother always said clean up your own house first, so...
I like your mom. Tell her I said hello.
You can't go have not prepared, so you got to be... I understand all that you said. So, and evidently you have more information, so I will contact you.
Okay, just tell Mary Ann you want my number.
I will. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling the show. If anybody else is out there, how much time do we have left?
7 minutes.
7 minutes we have left to talk about child support and all the good things that go along with it, and we want to hear from you, and you can let us hear from you by calling 646. That really sounded horrible. But anyway, the phone number here is 646-478-4905. I'm allowed one per show. But getting back to child support, one of the things that I've always objected to is people complaining about child support, but they never contact you to file the paperwork.
Right. Well, the other thing is that people will say, I've called and called and called, and they're not helping me. All our calls are logged. And so I can look in the computer and I can say, you called on this date, and this date, and here's what you were told. So all the conversations are narrated by the workers and by the call center. So we do know when you do call.
And the one thing that I would suggest that when you call is that you have all your child support information in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
And make sure that you have your information, whether you're expecting a phone call back, you're leaving your cell phone number, carry your info with you. Keep it in your car so you can run out if you're at work, so you have it, because when that call comes, you may not get a second chance in the near future to get that.
Right. The best information is, of course, your first and last name, social security number, and then when we ask you for a case number, what that is your statewide system tracking number, and that is a 10-digit number that begins with the number 7. And it could be like 7005 something or 701. I think we're up to 705 right now.
Okay.
But and if you move, and let's say that you move to another county in Ohio, they still will have access to your child support case. So they could go ahead, if you walked in their door, and they can check on it. We can't transfer the case. It has to stay in Cuyahoga County, even though you've moved. The state won't let us transfer cases anymore. So it's in the county in which it originates.
This is an opinion that I'm going to ask you for. Mm-hmm. But I know when it first started with the state taking over, it was horrible.
Right, yeah.
Is it better now?
Much better now. I think that when the new computer system came in, one of the problems was we in Cuyahoga County had an excellent computer system. And so things had to change and be gentrified so that Cuyahoga County, which has the largest caseload in the state of Ohio and larger than 22 other states or territories, was mixed in with Vinton County, which has several hundred cases. So they were trying to design a one-size-fits-all system, and it didn't work. And there were counties out there that never even used a computer, so anything computerized to them was great. They thought it was fabulous. But for us, because we had been using the technology, we have adapted though. It's been in place since May of 2000. So it's a 10-year-old system. Now what we need upgrades. It's still a DOS-based system. In other words, I can't use a mouse and point and click. Everything has to go in with a code, and then you have to put in these trans numbers. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's in that regard, yeah, we need it upgraded. The reality is there's no money to upgrade. The state is obviously going through a very hard time. The county financially is going through a very hard time, but it's a statewide computer system. So until the state gets money probably from the federal government, we're not going to be able to upgrade. It would be nice if we could, though.
Are you going to be on the committee to do the upgrade?
I know just enough to be dangerous. You don't want me on that committee. We have just the best IT guy in the world, and he was around when they brought SETS, this, you know, I
Yes.
know, State Enforcement Tracking System, not SEX, SETS. But when they brought it on board, Mark was right there, and I'm not going to give out his last name, but I'm going to tell you that the state relies on him. He's just that good.
Okay.
We have a fabulous guy, so he should be the one.
I was just going to suggest that they call IBM, Microsoft, somebody that knows what they're doing instead of what they did when they first brought this online.
Yeah, there were some issues. There definitely were, but I think that, you know, the problem in government is our procurement process. By the time that, and you have to have it in place to be able to not have corruption and paybacks and kickbacks. You have to go through this process. And this process takes years. So by the time the computer system gets to you, it's old.
Correct. Mary, can you give out your numbers real quick? We're getting thrown off the air.
Okay.
Oh, well, we're being asked to leave the studio.
Okay. For any child support question, you can call from 8 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. 216-443-5100, and that is our call center. And we got a lot of bright folks there who can answer your questions.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I want to thank you for being on the show. It was great to have you. Great to see you again. Mm-hmm. And we'll see you next month with another fresh show. I don't know who Mary Ann has lined up, but I'm sure we will get some promos out for it. Thank you very much.